Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dad's listening to Tomcats. Talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. This some weeding now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome in to another episode of the Penny Bloom Podcast. It is I, Colton Robertson, and today we continue our 52-year journey through film. It's the beginning of November, baby, and I am joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
Oh, what up, what up? Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it is always a pleasure to have you. Today, for the year 2014, as those who have been with us know, but there might be some new guys. A new guy, listen up, rookie. Check this shit out. We're doing our 52-year journey through film. On the first day of the year, we covered a movie from 1970, MASH, and every Friday after that, we've covered a movie from the subsequent year. 71, 2, 3, 4, all the way through the 70s, all the way through the 80s, all the way through the 90s, all the way through the aughts now, and we've reached the halfway point of the 2010s. It is 2014, and we are talking Interstellar.
Woohoo! Let's go, man. Yeah, this has been one I've been waiting for a little bit.
It's been one that as soon as we decide, like when it came to the 2000s, after the 70s, 80s, 90s, all the way 2000 through 2022, these have been the ones we've changed the most. You know, we fucked with the 2000s movies the most, like as far as what we're going to cover from what it was initially conceptualized to what it has become. And Interstellar never moved.
Yeah, it was. I'm thinking like back to whenever this list was first being filled out in the first place. Like I feel like this one was like, oh, when did Interstellar come out? Oh, yeah. 2014. Okay, slip it in there.
So we'll throw that in 2014. Now you're right, man. Because this is one that I've regarded as like a top 10 favorite movie of mine of all time, and I think methinks it remains the case. Post this most recent watch. I mean, this was like my fifth or sixth watch now, you know, like I'm not like it's not like it's my second watch and I was like, oh yeah, in for another fucking banger. Now, like I know this movie is good, you know, like I know it's good. I know the parts of the movie. I'm ready to fucking talk on it. We've never talked it on the podcast ever, so like this is a brand new, brand spanking new topic for us. So let me lay the groundwork real quick. Interestingly enough, it is November 4th today, but Interstellar released November 7th, 2014. So almost 8 years, almost 8 years to the day since Interstellar was released. It was written by Jonathan and Christopher Nolan. Jonathan Nolan also helped write, you know, first two seasons of Westworld, and this is directed by Christopher Nolan. So, man. Let's get into it. How have you previously regarded this movie before coming into it?
I'm a nerd. Complete like physics and science is my shit, and this movie is just like a nerd's wet dream in the first place. But then just as like a normal movie, like that's what I kind of did this time, was watch it as like, you know, through all the science and stuff that I'm like ooey gooey about out, and just let me see if I really still like this movie. And like, I think I have a different appreciation for the story this watch than I have before. Like, and I really like honed in on like, it's not just them going through wormholes and getting close to a black hole. It's like, nah, like it's about love throughout the universe, dude.
Yeah, man.
Like, and that's
man.
Like,
that shit. That's the shit that anchors it for me. I know you've talked about you just talked about how you're a bit of a science nerd and stuff, but like I never have been. So like the first time I watched this movie, all I'm watching it for is its story, and the science is kind of going, but I get the general idea of what we're about to do. You know, like it's going over my head, but I understand what's about to happen and why it's important. But one of my favorite things about this movie is that it is tied together by an element that is movie like. It's not based in science we know or anything, like it's just love is the only thing we can see outside the dimensions of space and time, the only thing we can feel outside of space and time. And like, oh my God, I love that idea. I actually had a coworker just this last week who asked me, he's asked about the podcast, what movie we were on this week. And we talked about Interstellar earlier in the day, and I was like, Interstellar, actually, so that's going to be fun. And he was like, oh yeah, man, I really like that movie for the most part, but the end, fucking corny. And I went,
really?
oh man, we don't have the same taste at all.
Oh, come on. I don't know, that whenever I was kind of, like, I've looked, like, just seen a lot of videos and stuff over Interstellar, and that's kind of what will split people. And on this movie is that they'll be like, yeah, it was really good up until the end there, until I don't know, like, I don't know what people were expecting. This isn't like a movie with aliens or like so far in the distant future to where it feels like unreal. Like it's in the future.
It's important that you say that too, because I was watching this and it was like I was looking at the structure of their ships and everything, and I was like, it's so interesting that this is technically a science fiction movie.
It feels just how it would go,
right? Like that's my thing. Like I'm watching it and I'm like, I thought of it as a science fiction movie for a second, and I went, that weirdly doesn't feel right. I mean, I know it is, but like, just when I'm watching it, it doesn't feel like fiction. It just feels like these events are unfolding.
And they even throw in those like little interviews of like
the documentary that they
what
filmed
we
about
learned
the
to
time
be
period. Yeah,
like people living through the time period that lived. These
the
are survivors of Earth, basically, that have gone on the spaceship, whatever happened. Which is, cool. You start watching, you're like, is this based on a true story? Is this like true? It's kind of like the Titanic. Well, I guess the Titanic, that was the actual lady, or no,
but
it actually was. Okay, anyway, but
based
I don't
on
know.
her.
Yeah, like the first like part of the movie until he leaves, it's really like very, very grounded on Earth, and it's just like, yeah,
he doesn't leave for like 50 minutes into the movie.
Dang.
Like they let you breathe with him and his kids for a while before they accelerate shit to a different level, because like there was a way I was watching this movie differently this time. Like I was paying attention to the pace of it. I wasn't just letting it unfold before me. I was like, all right, I want to know when things happen in relativity to the runtime and stuff. And like, this is a 2 hour and 48-minute movie. And they go down to the planet that bends time for them an hour and 10 minutes in. It's relatively early in the movie. Like it's in the first half of the movie, which like I was like, holy fucking shit, we're already here, Like I'm like, where do they go before they go to that planet? They don't go anywhere before they go to that planet. That's the first stop. And it's like, oh my God. I don't know why I forgot that, but I was just like, that's insane.
It's kind of nuts, like thinking of their journey, because like while you're watching the movie, it's like these big, like once he leaves, it just keeps going and like building and building and building and building. Like I'd say the gravitational like anomaly, like them figuring it out, like the little ghost, like it's like, it's cool. And it's like, okay, this is interesting. I want to see where this is going. But then like, once he leaves and they're starting to make these big decisions and they're like, oh yeah, we spend an hour down there. That's 7 years on Earth or whatever, like 7, 8 years every hour we spend down there. And then like something goes bad and your first watch, you're not thinking like, oh, this is going to cost them a lot of time. You're just like, I hope they get out of this alive. But then
you go back up and you're like, oh no,
23 years, dude. Like, and that's legitimate
science.
That's not fake. That is not science fiction. That's just real shit. Like, the more and more I watch the movie, knowing what happens, like knowing that they're losing all this time, or knowing that like I know this guy is a coward and he's gonna turn on him, and like knowing all these little things and knowing like where it goes, it just makes the movie. It's like fine wine. It just gets better every time I watch it. And it's just
and you know that applies for me specifically to Matt Damon's part in this movie. He's only in it for like 12, 15 minutes of screen time.
Dang.
Like, he is not in it for long. And I mean, like, I think they intercut his scenes with other stuff, but he's not in the movie for more than like, I'd say max 20 minutes on screen. And I think that's pushing it. Like, the way they set the tone for his character so early on and such like, he is very convincingly cool. All right. Doing okay. You know?
They really made you like him too. They're like, oh, this dude's cool. Like, he's like the
he sees
Martian.
a face for the first time, and he just
did the Martian come out yet?
No, it came out the next year.
Pre-Martian. Okay, so this is pre-Martian. Anyway,
I think it's pre-Martian.
But that would Martian was 2015. But I don't know. That was kind of like a thing I realized is like, man, he like really for the short time like put in quite the performance, like especially when he starts like monologuing to him. You know, you talking about like, oh, do you see their faces?
Well, because there's that it's intercut with the scene where Murph is back home burning her family's crops.
Oh my god!
And it's playing that song from the soundtrack that it's just building up for infinity. That song somehow simultaneously always hits and is constantly building up. It's fucking insane. Like, this soundtrack is berserk, but the power of that scene where Matt Damon is like, do you see your children's faces? I thought I could watch you do this. I can't. Do you remember the poem Brandon would read to you?
Of course, man. This dude, and like he had to get in like a quote, every like moment, because even whenever like right before he died and like pulled like the airlock, he started to say like, there comes a moment, and, like he was gonna go on a whole.
I mean, like, he's been chilling out on this planet alone for years. He was probably just like, man, I'm gonna plan the shit out of this thing.
That is kind of crazy. Like, 12 people sent out just randomly to a planet, and they're like, we don't know if you're gonna live at all. You're probably not going to on this planet. Go to it. If it is good, let us know. If not,
you sacrificed yourself for humanity.
Like, damn. Like, holy crap. And I don't know, I think another part that I really picked out of the movie that I like more than others is that like there wasn't any crazy alien species or like, or I guess it's kind of up in the air, but they really kind of make you think that this is just humans in the future doing the same thing that
I get that impression. Like I certainly do.
Which is like, it's crazy that like the more and more you think of the story, the more and more it bends your mind. But then the more and more you think of like just the science, it bends your mind too. Like, no matter like what aspect of this movie you think about, you could just always go deeper. Like, it feels like. But I mean, I've already put them in our nominations for soundtrack, writing, and directing. I feel like that was
the 2010 awards. Crucial consideration while we're traveling through the decade. So
I wanted to ask you.
I have a few.
If set design kind of works here, and if like, because they legitimately like designed black hole simulations like for this movie, like the most accurate one we've ever had to date for
that
this
shit
movie.
is mad impressive.
I didn't know if that counts as set design though. Really.
I think the way we counted Inception in the 2010s, sure, we could probably go ahead and throw in Interstellar, just because they're just both the sets are these epic CG masterpieces, like even the planet Matt Damon was on, or even on a lower scale that is probably their ships, being on the inside of their
that's true.
their ship,
The
like
endurance,
the
okay.
house,
Yeah.
the house in the middle of fucking nowhere, like all those places are sets. The downtown city, like I think those are all pretty cool. Like I think that it did a good job of building the world. I wasn't like actively in my mind like, oh, this is a soundstage or anything, like they were very convincingly where they were. So I think set design's fair for Interstellar. And I have some questions about costume design. I think this is probably worthy. I think the spacesuits are really cool. They're not obvious spacesuits, like they don't look exactly like the ones we have, but they do look advanced in a small, slight way that is frankly really cool.
Yeah, they did a, like, even the little arm booster things.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
That was sick. Yeah, they were like they did really well with, I don't know, like the look of everything. Like it just.
Oh, and I like how they had like the different colored suits to emblemize the time passage. Like they were once these red suits or orange suits that Matt Damon was rocking and shit. Like they switch it up for you a few times, which is cool.
Man, yeah, I think it is worthy of costume design. I mean, we only have Django in there right now. It is kind of,
I don't know if it wins there, but still.
But good. I think, yeah, definitely that soundtrack,
no doubt soundtrack
is getting a nod there. I mean, yeah.
So Hans Zimmer with his second nomination of the decade.
I guess we should credit.
Oh yeah, I always do in my notes.
Do this.
Hans Zimmer
instead of. That's just like, yeah. But this is like one of my favorite soundtracks just of all time of a movie.
Oh yeah, I listened to this. This is whenever I was building that movie and TV soundtrack playlist. Like I was mostly adding soundtracks that we'd been watching for the podcast or listening to for the podcast. But one of the first ones I added was obviously Interstellar. I was like, I'm gonna get all the Star Wars movies and I'm gonna get Interstellar. There's no doubt about it. That's what I'm gonna make happen real quick. Because it's too damn good.
It is pretty. I mean, I usually like a soundtrack more if it's real songs that I know but picked well for a movie. But this is a score that I hold to the same esteem as like a Star Wars or an Indiana Jones, or like this is a score that, like, while I'm watching the movie, if the music was not here, I don't think I would be feeling what I'm feeling.
Oh no, not at all. I like the moment early on in the movie where they're chasing the drone through the field. Very early on in the movie, where Timothy Chalamet is driving and they're trying to chase him down, and like there's a music swell there that is strong, and it's like they play any other song, that moment doesn't feel anywhere near as impactful. Like it's just kind of like it's a dull scene without the soundtrack they've got going there.
Yeah, this is a good song. That song is actually the most streamed song out of any of the entire album. I guess it makes sense. It's kind of.
I think it's weaved throughout. Yeah, like it's the main theme of kind of his and his daughter's relationship. Like every time it swells, it's because something that is affecting them directly is happening.
And it wasn't like, I don't know, you kind of have a feeling that that Matthew McConaughey was the chosen one, of the movie. You kind of like, this is what the movie, who the movie's about, or whatever. Like he's the one who's, kind of been put in this underdog seat that, he's not supposed to win or come out of, but he's going to do it. But then then you realize that he's just, he's just helping.
He's helping
really
the
set up
chosen one.
for. Yeah, and it's just all for his daughter. And there's a moment where he realizes that he's like, oh, they chose her.
Yeah.
And he is so excited. Like it fills him with instant joy that
he's
it's
so
him,
proud.
or that it's her and not him.
He's so proud. He's like, oh, you got to be fucking with me. That makes me so goddamn happy. Marv! Marv!
And then he's like in the hospital too, or on the ship, whatever. And they're like, oh, like he's like, oh, thank you for naming it after me.
And they're like, oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, we named it after your daughter, Bucko. She's much more impactful to us directly.
I want to ask you, because every time I watch it, I get the same feeling. Whenever he walks in on Murph, like whenever she's old, he is still young, 120, still whatever. The other family that's in there, they look at him as if he's like, I don't know. They look at him like weirdly, the other family. Like, I don't know. I get this very weird vibe that like, for some reason, the family just doesn't like him. I don't know why. He walks in the room.
The impression I've always gotten is those are his descendants.
Yeah.
And
they're just those are his grandkids and great grandkids.
Yeah, like I think they're like, holy fucking shit, this is my great great grandpa.
And he is like, a grandchild is probably around the same age as him now.
Yeah.
Which is like, I mean, I guess that's never really happened in history of time, I guess a family's never had to deal with that, so I don't know what that would look like. But I don't know, it was nice whenever she was like, no father should have to watch their daughter die. And then they're both like fair. Like I have my other family here. You gotta go get her. You gotta go complete your mission. You're not done. And like, I don't know. It's crazy going watching the movie for the first time and having all of these things come into play and not knowing what's going to happen.
Oh man. This is one of the most fulfilling first viewings of a film you can ever have.
Honestly, it's kind of confusing though on first watch.
Oh yeah, certainly. I showed I really was excited to show Emily this movie when and I showed her this probably a good year and a half ago now. Probably pretty early on that I showed her Interstellar, but when I did, I was so excited to watch it for the first time with someone else. Someone else who was watching it for the first time. I love doing that. I love experiencing that.
This would be a good one.
All the moments that were supposed to hit. It wasn't like a shoot. Like the movie is perfectly accessible. You do have to pay attention. You can't zone out. But it is absolutely if you're paying attention, you're gonna get this movie. The science isn't so over the top and impossible to grasp that it's perfectly watchable. And they do have moments of exposition, when we do see the spherical black hole and Rom explains it to Cooper, where he's like, yeah, so it connects two spots, but we fold it together and you can go through, but we unfold it, we can only see one dimension of it. And it was moment for the crowd so everyone understands why we see black holes as circles.
Wormhole in this case.
Wormhole, yes.
So yeah, even more fuckery, even more. But I don't know, that would honestly, I didn't know what the fuck a wormhole was before this movie. I thought it was just some sci-fi I didn't just sci-fi stuff.
There was an actual potentiality of it.
Oh shit! Okay, and I remember like because we watched this in physics class.
Yeah, same.
And like our teacher used that as like a legit, like, he talked to us about it like after class. He's like, no, yeah, that's like sound. That's like legit. And I was like, oh, okay. Shit. Oh, cool.
Bet. Yeah, I remember Doris showing us that my junior year. And like, that was my first watch of the movie. So I got it in like 45-minute segments. And I remember every day just being like, oh, fuck, I cannot wait for Doris's class so I can watch the next part of Interstellar today.
That would be an insane way to watch it for the first time. Like, through class, having to take...
It was mad effective.
Yeah.
It was mad effective because I was like, I really took in those 45 minutes and then had to think on them for the whole next day until I got there again.
You got it like a TV show.
Yeah.
Kind of like a you got like some cliffhangers, like, oh my God, what the heck is going to happen next?
One of the cliffhangers was like right when Matt Damon fucking pushed Matthew McConaughey. It's like, are you fucking kidding
me? Dang, that would suck to have to leave. But I don't know. That would be nuts.
I remember being like, oh, I'll be back tomorrow.
But man, yeah, this, like, the thing is about a black hole, you wouldn't see anything because it sucks in everything.
Yeah, they have to visualize it somehow.
Like, or maybe we don't really know, but we think we know. But like it just looks so beautiful. Like, in this is not like just made up for a movie. Like, this is legitimately how a black hole would look if we could see it. Which doesn't make sense at all. And I don't really want to try to even understand. But like, this, like, the amount of actual science that they went through for this movie is like actually insane. Like, and it's correct. Like, a lot of it is very correct. And like, there's obviously parts that are withheld for story. Those arm boosters. No chance
probably shouldn't be strong enough.
Launch them 20 feet in the air with 80% of Earth's gravity, but like, I don't care. I don't care at all. Like, I don't. There's those parts like do not bother me whatsoever.
Yeah, they're very convincing in the moment. Like,
I'd say the hardest first watch part that I didn't really get right away was whenever they had to escape the gravitational pull from the black hole. Like, this is like the very end, and whenever he like sacrifices him and Tars, they have to like let themselves go in order to let her free. Like, I think that's the concept that's kind of easy to understand as like, okay, he's just sacrificing himself so that she can live. But then like thinking about what's actually happening in that moment was kind of like, wait, like, this was part of like the plan, like, for Tars, and then they were gonna sit, like, I don't know, it was just kind of like jumbled, and like, okay, so they're in the black hole now and she's just like floating off, but like still right there. She still has to go. Like, I don't know. It was just kind of a little much there, I'd say. It's just because so much was happening at once that you had to like put it all together quickly.
Yeah, it can be quite a bit here. But man, there are a lot of really cool relationships formed over the course of this movie, which is probably the best. Like, every time, like, this could have been a simple sci-fi action movie. And it's not, like, every relationship formed makes it a hard-hitting drama. Cooper's relationship to his kids, his relationship to Anne Hathaway, his relationship to Brand, their relationships to Brand, his daughter's relationship to Brand, like, all of the connections formed over the course of this, him and his father-in-law, like, there's so many like random little things that you actually feel and care about, and they make impactful in such a short time.
Like, yeah, even at the beginning, like whenever he had to go to his parent-teacher conference, like, kind of sounds, but like in a space movie, like, oh, we're really like in school right now or whatever. But like I don't know, it's kind
We
of like,
haven't even really touched on
Yeah.
the whole situation on Earth, like the
Mm.
potentiality of something like that.
Mm. And he just tells him off. You know, he does his Matthew McConaughey thing to the teacher and the principal there. But
Ask him about his waist and his inseam.
yeah,
You
that
tell
was
me
pretty.
it takes two measurements.
Yeah.
It takes two measurements to measure your own ass, but one to measure my son's future.
Fair. I mean, fair point there. You know.
Oh, very fair.
But I was trying to think of like who's the lead actress for this movie.
So I had a similar thought. I do think it's Anne Hathaway, just because she plays her character throughout the entirety of the movie. Murph
fair.
isn't introduced until about after they come off of the planet that distorted time. So a good hour and a half into the movie is when Murph makes her debut on screen as Jessica Chastain presents her. But yeah, I definitely go Anne Hathaway as Brand is definitely a nom for best lead actress, and then with zero doubt, Jessica Chastain is in the running for best supporting actress, because like I'd almost be like tempted to put them both in the leading actress category, which I know like isn't technically possible, I don't think, but you know, fuck it. She was absolutely stellar. I think I think Matthew McConaughey, no doubt, is a nod for best actor for our Decade Awards. Like whenever he does come off that planet and he's sitting there watching the videos, man, that shit makes me cry. Like this was like my 5th time watching it, and I'm still crying at that part, bro. Like it's so fucking devastating.
Like there's it shows just the video being played for a good like minute straight, and then it cuts back to
And
his
he's
face.
just fucking sobbing.
Oh my god,
dude! And I'm just like, I was like, I was already like tearing up, but then like they cut to him and he's sobbing. It just breaks the levees, and you're like, dude. Oh no,
yeah, no,
oh no,
yeah. It's a guaranteed cry. There's a lot of cries in this movie. And a lot of them
when she pops up on the screen and is like, "It's my birthday," and as soon as she says that every time now, I get like one single tear runs down the cheek, you know, and then like the rest of the scene unfolds, and by the end of it, I'm just crying my ass off. It's just so strong, dude.
And like, whenever he's telling himself to stay, but you don't know that it's him at first, and you know, he not like. You know, we know that he's banging on the bookshelf, screaming like, "No, make me stay." But then, like, you know, first watch, you're not thinking anything like that at all.
No,
but now
at
every
all.
time I watch this movie, like every time it refers to like that moment,
oh.
I'm like, "Shit, fuck, okay, here I go again." Or
and you know, it's him on the other side of the wall going like, "No, you idiot! Don't go, don't
and like,
go."
Like, what more of a beautiful way to get Murph to like come back around on her dad, right? Like she thinks that, you know, he abandoned him. He knew that he was leaving her. And she's been pissed at him ever since.
That's the most important resolution of this movie. Without Murph forgiving her dad, this movie doesn't hit anywhere near the level it did. Like that part just ties the whole story together in a way that makes you just go, yes, it's finally
like it's crazy. Like it's not even Murph realizes it like on her own. It's kind of like they both realize it at the same time. He's like, oh wait, I'm here.
I'm the gravitational anomaly.
And man, those visuals,
love Tars, love.
That was nice that Tars, you know, he had someone to talk to in there, and kind of like Tars explained it a little bit, where he's like, yeah, these 5th dimensional beings constructed this, you know, thing for you so that you could see it. You know, you're like, and I was like, oh, first time I watched this, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I just
That's an important explanation too, because like first time I watch it, I don't get that. Like, so I move from this my first time watching it, like, what the fuck was that plane? What the fuck's going on there? And then like to know they built it. It's not a natural phenomenon. They created it to exist here for him. Like,
it's just
that makes
mind bending. Like,
right.
So to think of this in like a timeline, maybe like some freaking way down the line, whenever humans or whatever the hell we are can understand higher dimensions, because whenever that happens, they're like, okay, yeah, we need to save humanity. But like, why would they need to go back so far in time to like save humanity? Or like, I like, that's the part that like, and maybe it's like, the way I like kind of think about it now whenever I watch it is that like, love is this kind of like, it's a thing that transcends just time or anything. And like, it always like, it helps humanity survive. And I think like, instead of it being like they had to choose this one moment in time to save humanity, whatever, I feel like this is happening like all the time. Like each little bit where humanity needs to be saved, not like all the time, but like each like big, I don't know, event in humanity where it came close or something. Like these things are constructed. It's found, through this beautiful way, and like what more beautiful way of an infinitely big, just little girl's bedroom.
That is interesting.
Like,
what I wonder when these beings are from,
right?
Yeah,
obviously way, or that's the thing, is that like time doesn't mean anything to them because they can literally look through time. Like they don't experience time like we do. They see in the fifth dimension. Time is a dimension for them. Well, I guess it's a dimension for us, but it's a visible dimension for them. And they can actually interact with it. And they can interact with gravity too. So they're like, there's no way that we can comprehend whatever the hell they're on.
Whatever the hell they are, yeah, or and how that works.
This construct thing is the closest thing that we can maybe think that it's like.
And it's not even like, there's literally no way to know.
We have zero clue. Absolutely zero clue. Like, it's crazy whenever you think, because we live just in the three-dimensional world. We've seen everything our whole lives as 3 dimensions. We can't think of anything else. And like, it's impossible to think of fourth dimension, but like going one step down, like if you go into the 2-dimensional world, like a sphere just looks like a straight up flat circle, and so like whenever you think of like going down a dimension, it kind of makes sense. Like a sphere would just look like a circle, but they have no way of knowing that's a sphere at all. So like,
what's just a circle?
What's the next step of a sphere? Going up, or what's the next step of a cube, and it's like, that's where it gets impossible. But like, I feel like they did like this visually, like this construct thing. I don't know. I think like it made sense for the story, and it wasn't
together quite
too
nicely,
crazy. Yeah. And it was like, oh, okay, like it's just her bedroom, and Tars, explains that they built this here for you. This is your way of communicating. This is how you're gonna have to fix it. And you're like, oh, okay. And
okay,
then,
I'm in.
It's like, no, we built this. It's love, Tars. It's love. And
love, Tars.
Iron Man, and it starts Iron Man and going all the way through, and oh man. Yep.
What's that, sir? Love, Tars. Love. God, every time, like that is my quote from this movie. Anytime someone asks me something and the answer like can be love, I'm gonna go love, Tars, love, and they're gonna go what, and I'm gonna go never mind. Like that's just every time, and a performance that I don't think we've given enough credit here. Mackenzie Foy as young Murph. She did stellar early on in this movie. She was a very convincing, strong, capable young woman. You know what I'm saying? Like she had that shit on lock. Young girl. She She kind of killed that shit, and it's her being siblings with a young Timothy Chalamet, which is just fucking hilarious seeing him in this.
Casting, it's freaking, oh my god, I was about to say Mark Wahlberg. For some reason I always get Mark Wahlberg and Matt Damon confused, but Matt Damon's just not even on here.
Well, I think that's what's interesting is I think he's a surprise. Like, I remember the first time I watched it, I was like, holy fucking shit, is that Matt Damon just in like this random tiny role?
Yeah, there he is. Yeah, finally down there.
Way down.
On the actual, but man, yeah, that's great. Like, I don't know if there's any. I don't know. Are there any others besides Anne Hathaway, Matthew McConaughey, and Jessica Chastain that you wanted to?
I mean, I would consider Rom. I liked his actor a lot. I thought he did a really, really good job. Whenever they come back from the planet, he's like,
been waiting for years.
Yeah, and they're like,
how long?
Why didn't you sleep? And he's like, I did a couple times.
That was rough. That was like, and then he blows, and then like him blowing up.
I was like, fuck this. He couldn't have made it off with Anne Hathaway. This could have been just fine. You built up the stakes enough for me here in the last couple seconds. You're about to kill Matt Damon. I get it.
Yeah, I don't know. That whole part of the movie, like whenever Matt Damon gets introduced, and like you're thinking, like, oh yeah, this, I don't know, what's this surface gonna look like? What's this sick planet gonna like? I don't know. I'm trusting Matt Damon.
Whenever he's
first.
like, I never thought I'd see anyone again. He's like, I knew that I needed you guys to come get me. I wanted to press that button so bad over the years, and you can tell like something weird's happening. You're like,
yeah,
what the fuck changed in his demeanor? What the fuck's he talking about? And Matthew McConaughey's like, what are you talking about? He's like, hey man, sorry.
Whenever you do know that he turns, like the first question he asks, like he sees, Cooper's face and hugs him, but then he's like, how are the other planets? Like, what are the other planets like? Like, surely I'm not the only one, right? Because he knows that his planet's fucked, and like he like knows his only like way of surviving is like if there's another planet that's out there that ended up working. So like his first question was like immediately, are there other planets that are good?
Yeah, like I remember, and like there's also that part where it's either Tars or Case. Sometimes I can't tell the difference between them, and but they're asking if they should fix up Kip, his little droid thing, and he's like, nah, it needs a human touch, but that's because as soon as a human figures it out, it'll be too late. Like,
was that really his plan, or like, was that his way of going if he wanted to go? Like, cause I never like, did he really plan that?
I think I get the impression he rigged it for that purpose. Like he told them there was important information, his data was on it. Like
that's true.
Like he knew someone was going to go through it. He was probably like, I in fact don't want to die, so make sure I'm not here when you look through that.
That's true. I guess he did try to kill Cooper. He wanted to get rid of everyone and him like pretty much be the only one left actually. So fair. Yeah, he did want to kill everyone. I guess just
and Anne Hathaway would have still been there had she not heard from Matthew McConaughey.
That's true. That's right. Yeah, she was just outside, like right outside of it, doing some like, I don't know,
right,
inventory or something.
Inventory. She's counting the pieces.
Man, but I love like in the soundtrack you hear like a clock ticking, like 1 second like go by, and like during whenever they're on the planet where 1 hour is 7 years or whatever, like you hear this, like there's no music really for a little bit, but you still hear like the ticking of the clock, like just to to just let you know that like each one of these seconds is
that realization the first time you're watching it, whenever they're like, those aren't mountains. Oh, and those are going away from us, so. And he like turns around and looks what's right behind him, and he's like, holy fucking shit, get your asses back here.
Yeah.
Oh my fucking God.
mountains. He's like, oh wait, those aren't mountains. Why are they getting bigger? Why are they getting closer? Oh, that's not good,
Dude.
That's
Hey man, space is scary.
yes, it is.
Space is freaky, like the infinite nature, seemingly, from the naked eye. As far in any direction as you want to go, certain death headed your way if you're just out there. The idea of this massive fucking wave barreling towards me, it's almost every bit as bad. That's almost every bit as bad. That shit is horrifying.
Yeah, and someone was just tasked to go to that planet, go there and maybe
like, in the time curvature, she just got here a couple hours ago. She might have died minutes ago.
Yeah, minutes. Like she was there, and she knew that no one was gonna save. Like no matter what, she was so close to the black hole that like even if she stayed on there for like. I guess she would really only have to stay alive for like 10 hours, really. Because like 10 hours is freaking 70 years.
How are you going to survive 10 hours where every 45 fucking minutes there's a giant fucking wave coming for you?
Hey, lucky enough, it was like there's a surface there. It could have been like a deep ass ocean floor, where they couldn't even landed, like yeah, that was rough.
It's even wilder to think about. And is that why it's so low? Because there's giant fucking waves with all the water?
Damn. Probably.
Yeah.
Oh my God. The moon is like what controls our like tides and waves because it's like literally pulling the water. But yeah, there's a black hole pulling that water.
Yeah.
So like, damn. I've never thought about that until now.
If we had a black hole pulling our water, the whole planet would be covered in water.
Fuck space, dude.
Space, dude.
It's like we're living in such a weird time where like obviously we're not going to like other solar systems or like any other habitable planet in our lifetime. Like that's just not happening. But like there's so many things that are happening that are like world changing, it feels like, in our lifetime. And like I don't know, I feel like this future of where they only have corn left, that's it. Like like it's not just Ireland where they had to make potatoes in just one country. Like it's like the world is struggling for food. It's like I don't know, like maybe my kids' lifetime, like they're struggling and farmers like are needed bad, like they're like saying it here. And
not like that might be the most scary part of this movie. What's interesting too is that I get the impression we're Matthew McConaughey's father-in-law's generation.
Yeah. Yeah, because like it seems that every other day there's a new gadget coming out.
There's a new gadget coming out, new something every day. Like, we are the grandparents of the generation experiencing Matthew of like Matthew McConaughey's kids in this movie. Which is just so wild to think about, that like if it were to happen, that would still be within our lifetime. Like that's scary. Like and it doesn't seem to be heading in the right direction, to the place where, because I mean, There's been a lot more about that sort of shit, burning of fields in the news lately than there has been my whole fucking life, which is like, freaky shit, sad shit. Like, what are we gonna do?
Yeah, and like knowing that even if you do have food, whatever, like you'll eventually suffocate. It's like in no way they would tell humanity that fact. You like if this were to actually like they would keep it a secret because no way they're gonna be like, oh yeah, at this time you're not gonna have enough air to breathe. Like, out of like.
Well, like you'd create just a chaotic fucking place. You might as well work to figure it out without telling anybody.
But that's the thing is like, if you do tell everybody, then it unlocks like an ever burning motivation to get it fixed. It's either it's gonna turn to chaos and everyone's just gonna like kill each other and just do whatever they want. Or it's going to be like, we need to work together to fix this. Or we are literally dead. Like, if people... I think, like, if we could fast forward 30 years in the future and see the consequences of, like, the things we're doing to Earth now. Say it gets really bad in 30 years. If we could show that to someone, like, be like, hey, this is what it will be like in 30 years, no matter what, we... will have a terror like this. It's not going to be fun. I think a lot of people would wake up more and be like, oh shit, like we're doing a lot of bad shit. But like, if it's a situation where it literally is the end of the species, I don't know if it goes to chaos or if, or
I mean, like the optimist in me would sure hope not, but I am firmly in a camp, in my understanding of at the very least, Americans. that half of us, maybe more than half, like maybe say 70-30 split here, would band together. Good 30% of us would be doing whatever the fuck they wanted.
Yeah.
That's sort of my perception of it, and maybe 70-30 is also a bit optimistic, but yeah. But any hoozle, what if we did the ratings for the film? You ready for that yet, or do we have anything else we really want to hit on?
Oh, I think I'm ready, man. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think we've missed any part of the movie, and I was trying to run through like a timeline of like all the big things that happen in the movie.
I think we hit all the big ones.
I think
we've kind of skipped over like Casey Affleck's storyline later on in the movie when his son grows up. And he's a stubborn ass who refuses to leave. He's I get it, man. I get it, but shit. Like, your family's in danger.
Yeah.
Like, it's a bad look. It's a bad look for that character. It just is.
That was a little rough. I guess that was his way of dealing with his dad leaving. Is that he's like, all right, well, Grandpa took, he raised me. He's buried out back.
Another interesting perspective. Yes, he raised him in some pretty formative years. But for the first 15 years of his life, his dad did raise him.
And it's not like he was a bad dad. He seemed like he was a
very supportive, good dad.
It's single dad at that.
And I think that's kind of like the retroactive, he left when he was 15. He just won't forgive him. Like, that's just it. It's.
Imagine how confused he probably was, though, whenever Murph ran outside after he just got done trying to put out a fire. It's still going. He's just black everywhere in the, just got char all over him. She runs out with a watch and says, "It's Dad. He was my ghost. He's saving us." He's pissed the fuck off.
He's like, fuck you.
For one, he's like, my crops are burning down. You probably did it. You're in my house. I just told you to get the fuck out and never come back. You're back already trying to take my kids. And then you give me a hug and you're like, Dad saved us. And like, he's probably like, what the fuck is going on? Like, can you imagine being in his shoes? Like,
no, man.
But
oh my God.
But no, yeah, interesting arc. That was an interesting arc that they decided to go with. But I don't know. They kind of just tossed his character to the side, though. It really was just like,
oh yeah, he doesn't get any resolution with his dad. Really, he doesn't get any. Like, he's just kind of like probably dies bitter.
Damn, that's rough. That's rough. I don't know. I was Do you think they ever make a sequel to this movie?
No, I think Christopher Nolan's got some integrity on him there. You know, like I think he's like, you know, the story is obviously heading in a direction where he goes and finds Anne Hathaway and they start that colony. Presumably it evolves one day into the fifth dimensional beings who are able to create this, and then like it's like just so on and so forth, man. Like
he left it in a way to where if he wanted to revisit it, he could.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It wouldn't be nearly as like, I think this is the part of the story of the world that he built that was like the most grand and epic. And
I don't know how you can come close to, like, I don't even know how you extend the story further in a compelling way with Matthew McConaughey's character now that he, like we talked about it, love, Tars, love. Like, the love he felt was for his kids, and that ship sailed now.
Maybe there's a way to go back in time.
Maybe there's a way to go back. Tars. We're going back, Tars. Going back to 2076.
Oh, that's right. They actually got Tars. They got him, too. He was floating out there just with him.
Yep.
Imagine. Oh, and this is another like a theory that he didn't live through that, and that's his like afterlife. And like, how beautiful is it? You know, like that his daughter has everything figured out, and his daughter is the one who figured everything out, and that ship's named after her. And he's like, oh, great. And then he gets to go see that like the work that they did wasn't for anything, and it saved the human race. You know, like it could, like, it's a perfect ending to the story, you know, which makes you think like, did he really go in a black hole and then just get pooped out of the wormhole? You know, and he was just floating by Saturn. Dude was just chilling out there floating, you know, with Tars out there floating in the middle, like right in front of Saturn. And I guess at that time, so much time has passed that like they're probably advanced enough to be like, human popped up, and well, I don't know. How do you find
they're not on a planet there. They're on the satellite that I think is orbiting. I think it's around Saturn.
Oh, because they never show like the outside of the ship, right?
No,
only like whenever the ship takes off, you see it. Like, but I never thought about where that ship was. That would be nuts.
I think it is right by the wormhole. Like, I don't think it's too far out from it.
Oh, then that makes it even more beautiful, because like they constructed the wormhole in the first place too. They put it there to make this all happen, and they knew that he would get left there at the end and that he would be found, you know, like, oh, goddamn.
They were like looking out from him from the beginning. They were like, you're going to sacrifice a lot, but you'll be fine.
You don't know what the heck's going to happen. You don't even know that you're about to dive into a black hole.
And we haven't even said Michael Caine's name.
Damn.
Like, the whole, when he's confessing to Murph at his bed, like laying there, and he's like, yeah, I lied, man. We can't do it. Plan B is the only plan. Fuck. Like, no. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, he solved that equation 40 years ago or whatever. Like something like that.
Murph being like, you knew, didn't you? My dad knew, didn't he? Like, He left us here to die.
Made it
Like,
even worse. Yeah, like that made it even worse. And then you're like, no, it made the redemption even
no,
better.
he is also getting fucked over,
Mm.
probably and arguably harder than you are.
Mm. I mean, freaking Brandon. Do you think Bran actually knew, or like she didn't? Like,
I don't think she did. I don't think she knew
Okay.
that part. You
Mm.
know, like I think he was like he told her, you know, plan B is a probable option, a little bit more probable than he made it seem to Cooper. Like I think she had a much better understanding of this is more than likely the route we're going to have to go, you know, but I don't think she knew for sure that plan A had zero chance of happening. Like at least according to her, what was her dad? Is that her dad?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought.
Wait, yeah, Dad.
Yeah.
But man, yeah, just like instantly wrote off their chances. Was like, yep, sorry, it ain't gonna work. And I don't.
But it's Murph who can figure it out.
Love Tars.
Love Tars. Love. So for me, let's get to this fucking rating. You know, for those joining us for the first time, we've got 3 ratings that combine into our final rating. We got our enjoyment on a scale of 1 to 5 stars, just how much this movie connected with us. We've got how well it fulfills its genre. So this will be like a sci-fi action drama sort of deal. And then critically, just how good it was. Filmmaking, acting, soundtrack, like all the cinematography, editing, all those sorts of things that go into the creation of film. We kind of sum up that rating there. We combine those 3, take the average of them, and it becomes our Penny Bloom film rating. So we start with enjoyment. Where are you sitting? Because for me, this is a 5.
Yeah. I was. It's the immediate number that jumped in my head, and then I'm like, all right, let me just look at the 4 9s and 4 8 5s, and let's just see.
It's not close.
Nah, it's 4 9, American Gangster and Goodfellas. 4 8 5, Kill Bills, and then like My Neighbor Totoro. And I'm like, yeah, I mean,
Interstellar is a 5, baby, and that makes it our first 5 of the 2010s.
Yeah, first 5 since Slumdog Millionaire in the enjoyment.
God, it feels good to be back in the 5 train in the enjoyment, baby, because I love when we get to cover a 5 enjoyment.
And I guess let me ask you, within these 5s, where does it? Because I think it's.
All right, there are some things I would like to fuck with a little bit. Yeah, like I'm very like God. It's so interesting seeing how we've got this right now, because I don't know, there might be a few things I want to fuck with, just because like the ever changing perception of how I enjoy my movies and stuff. For me, this is up in that tier with Jurassic Park and Raiders, and I think King Kong should probably drop down a tier if I had to guess. I think. It was a fun movie, but in comparison to the others now, it hasn't aged as well in my mind as these others have. Doesn't mean, yeah, like it's still in that second tier of 5s, like it's just outside the top 5 now. But nevertheless, Interstellar's up there. You know, this is one of the most enjoyable movies of all time for me. That first watch experience is. I don't know that it's been matched by a single thing I've ever watched as far as a movie is concerned. And, you know, shout out to Jonathan Nolan for having that capability. As Westworld Season 1 is also my favorite first watch of a television show ever. And he co-wrote that with Lisa Joy. So... Dude's got the sci-fi shit on lock. It's no doubt good for him. You know, I mean, I think he also co-wrote Inception, but
jeez,
he co-wrote everything that Christopher Nolan's directed. Anyway, but
kind of like an unsung like hero. Like I didn't really. I've kind of always given
Almost.
Christopher Nolan like all the credit.
Almost arguably every bit as important.
Like Christopher Nolan's just the symbol, the figurehead, but like behind the scenes,
Jonathan
it's
Nolan
really
is working to be one of the greatest movie writers of all time.
he's
Movie and television writers.
yeah.
Wrote The Dark Knight.
Damn.
The Dark Knight, Batman Begins, Memento, The Prestige.
Oh shit.
Yeah, like he's got the shits. He's got the shits. And I mean, obviously, Christopher Nolan directed all those, which is not less important.
Fair.
But
Fair.
They work together to create some pretty awesome shit, which is cool. Just a pair of brothers, two brothers in a van.
Love
Tars, love. But yeah, so genre. So if you're asking someone, someone goes, I want a science fiction movie to watch.
I mean,
feels pretty genre defining, like it's that drama, that sci-fi, that action, the way it blends together, and it's so fucking good.
I mean, it's like if I need a sci-fi movie to recommend to anyone, like that's the thing. Is like the first like whenever I see sci-fi, I'm like, all right, Star Wars, like is kind of what pops in my brain first. Can't really recommend Star Wars to anyone because it's just kind of harder to get into. But this one is just like a general.
You will like this movie, and if you don't, I don't know what you're watching for.
I don't know. I this is what I would say required viewing. When it comes to movies,
it joins that 5 out of 5 tier for genres. Being our first 5 out of 5 in the genre category since Avatar in 2009. So again, first 5 out of 5 in genre for the decade of the 2010s as well, which is rearing it up to be far and away the best movie of the 2010s so far, through the first half anyway. So critically, this, and interestingly enough, this is the only place it falls. I mean, it had nowhere to go but down. Both the other ratings were 5 out of 5s, but it doesn't fall too incredibly far by any stretch of the imagination. I think it falls somewhere in that 4.85. Because, I think Christopher Nolan is a pretty awesome director. He gets a lot out of his actors. But stylistically, he's always kind of bored me. Like, there's not a lot going on screen that it is the story that he's putting forth that always gets me for his movies. You know what I'm saying? And this does have some pretty awesome visuals as far as the space stuff is concerned, and the fourth or fifth dimension and the fucking black holes and shit like that. It's pretty epic. Like it is epic. But when we're just with the actors, nothing really standing out, like it's all just kind of there.
I can dig. Yeah, I don't think it's up in the Godfather Shawshank.
It's not.
Jaws.
It's not. It's. I mean, like, it's great. It's fucking great.
Still with Jurassic Park, The Matrix, Kill Bill, Goodfellas. I mean, it's in great company.
Great company. Gladiator. Train Spotting. Like, it's like 4.85 is feeling the tier. Feels right for me.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see what that averages it out to. I mean, shoot, that's gonna be like a 4.9 something. 4.95.
4.95.
Is that tied with The Matrix? It's technically in third, tied for third if you count Star Wars, or in second place if you don't count Star Wars. A 4.95. I mean, shoot, that's That's pretty freaking good.
That's pretty freaking good. That makes me very happy. We haven't had a movie climb that high this decade at all. Like we've hit a relatively, compared to the other movies that we've covered throughout the list, a slow patch in comparison. You know what I'm saying? Like
Definitely.
and to get one that's breaking that top 5 for the first time since like American Gangster and Slumdog Millionaire. Like, you know, like that's 7-8 weeks ago since we've covered movies that were compelling us on this level. And
then before that, it was The Matrix, really. Back to
the
99. Yeah,
not making a great case for themselves in the greatest of all time sort of decades discussion. Not really, but
starting the month of November, pretty strong though.
And methinks November's going to be strong, all in all. So with that, Interstellar comes to a 4.95 out of 5. Man, what a fucking movie. What a fucking movie. And with that, we conclude another episode of the Penny Bloom podcast, and our 52-year journey through film continues. Next week, we're covering a movie from 2015, and what we're going to be doing is The Big Short. Pretty big one from 2015. Definitely won some awards. I'm looking forward to covering that, as it'll be my first real watch of the film. You know, like I've watched it before, but I didn't understand it in the fucking slightest. So I'm looking forward to jumping into another Adam McKay movie. You know, after Don't Look Up this past year and Vice and stuff, like he's got a good handle on some things.
We got a Kansas City Film Critics Circle Award film coming up. Let's go. It's our first in quite a while.
First in quite a while, but The Big Short next week. Be there or be square. Head to patreon.com/CoroBloom. That's COROBLOOM, where you'll find over 30 hours of exclusive content, including about 2.5 hours. Oh, wait. No, this is coming out in November. Won't even mention it. A few months back in June, got a lot of content, though, on Patreon. So, yeah, patreon.com/CoroBloom, COROBLOOM. All that money goes back into making sure I can put this podcast on. Costs me money, and I don't make any off of it, so that's a huge help. Head to Twitter, follow @PennyBloomPod, follow on Instagram @PennyBloomPodcast. I was Colton Robertson, joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here.
And it's always a pleasure to have you. Remember, peace, love, Tars, love, and bloom. And always praise Interstellar.